Hello, my name is Corey Malone, and today I'll be covering Spotify's ADIK system. This project was put together in collaboration with my teammates Christopher and Rafi. First, we need to go over what Spotify is. Spotify is a media service platform. It offers music from artists all around the world. It offers podcasts by highly publicized podcasts to podcasts from your everyday Joes. It also offers TED Talks that you can listen to, maybe even learn a thing from. Spotify also offers live events and the ability to create customized playlists for holidays, for say a romantic evening on the town, basically, or just you're riding in your car and you want to play some hype music to get hyped to, or which I know see is very popular for the gym. So that way, when you're getting your workout on, you throw on your gym playlist and you're good to go. There's two options for Spotify. You have the paid subscription and you have a free service with ad. The main differences between paid and free is first the ads. Same thing with Hulu. You can either get Hulu there isn't a free version, but the cheaper version you get you're subject to ads, which is how they make money if you're not paying. And also you cannot download and cache music directly to your phone, so that way you can listen to it offline. Next, we'll be going over the history of Spotify. It was started in Stockholm, Sweden in 2006 by the founders Daniel Elk and Martin Lorenzen. It was created as a response to the growing piracy problem, which I'm pretty sure many of you guys have either known somebody who pirated or maybe even pirated yourself. In my case, back in my day, sounding like the old man that I am, I used to burn CDs, download them from a website, rip them to a blank disk, throw it in the computer, take it to my car. I have Kendrick Lamar's brand new album for free. I will say that since Spotify has debuted and become a mainstream musical app, all the piracy that I used to do has stopped. Pretty much Spotify or Apple Music or even Tidal, I go all my music now through these streaming apps. They pretty much changed the game on the piracy problem. It officially launched on October 7th, 2009. It gave users the ability to stream millions of artists from all around the world. So you can listen to music from Europe. You can listen to K-pop, J-pop. You can listen to music from movies. So like one of my favorite orchestra soundtracks of all time is the Inception score. You can listen to things like that. And free accounts were created by invitation, but everyone else had to have a paid subscription. In 2009, Spotify opened a public registration for its free services. These free services were called freemium, and that offered ads after songs. Spotify debuted in the United States in 2011. They also released a 6-month free ad supported trial, which in 2012 began to expire, limiting free users. In March of 2012, the restrictions were lifted and Spotify became as we know it today, where you had those two concrete versions, either $4.99 for students a month or $9.99 for the public, and the free ad supported version. As of today, Spotify has 248 million monthly active users. Of this, 113 million are paying subscribers. Spotify offers for its user experience easy streaming right to a user's computer or a mobile device. The amount of features you have to use depends on the subscription plan. You have a search bar where you can search for an artist, you can search for an album, you can search for a playlist or a specific song. The search bar is really granular, basically whatever you want to listen to, pop it in that search bar and it's going to bring it up for you. You also can look at any songs that your friends are listening to. Spotify has the option where you can add your friends, and basically with that you can see any playlist they created and also what music they're listening to. We'll touch more on that a little bit later. There's a browsing tab that allows the user to look at many different categories of music, such as pop, rap, heavy metal, K pop, whatever floats your boat. Spotify also has a radio tab that lets its users listen to a specific category of music and then shuffles that type of music. More on the radio, say you like Beyonce. You can pull up Beyonce's radio station and it will play hits from Beyonce along with other artists who Spotify's algorithm figures a fan of Beyonce would be interested in listening to. Overall, Spotify offers a unique experience for free and premium members. As for accessibility, to even use Spotify, a user needs to have access to the internet. As I stated before, the only way you can listen to music without internet access is if you're a premium user and you've actually downloaded that song locally to your computer or device. Now, that doesn't mean you can open Windows Media Player, open that song and play it. It still has to be through the Spotify app as they are tethered together. Of course, you will also need a computer or mobile device. It's accessible to anyone with an active email account. You can also use your Facebook account to sign up for a Spotify account. Premium members gain access to a lot of unique features, such as the ability to download these and listen to songs offline. Freemium users can access some of the same features, but they have those ads between songs. Basically, Spotify is a business. They does offer this great service, so they need to get their ends to pay artists either way. So if you choose the free route, they're going to still monetize you by subjecting you to ads. For recommendations, I would say the layout of Spotify is great at utilizing its space. Everything has a place and it is easy to find everything you need. So everything's labeled like when you want to hear a podcast, there's a menu for podcasts. You click the podcasts are so you have tech, sports, politics, everything is right there, easy to find. One thing that could do to improve upon their app design is make the search bar bigger for users with poor eyesight. Myself, I wear glasses. Sometimes I'm staring at my iPhone and I'm like, I wish this was bigger. So that's one way that Spotify can improve. Some of the social issues that Spotify has been criticized for are their privacy practice. Users have no way of blocking another user from viewing their information. Basically, if you make a playlist on Spotify, anybody can search for that playlist, they can find it. All activity is shared with everyone on the platform. The only way to go offline is to go into your settings and choose a private session. That way, what you're listening to during that private session isn't shared. So if your friend logs in and he's like, hey, I wonder what Corey's listening to, if I'm in a private session, he cannot see that information. But a downfall and caveat to that is every time you launch Spotify, you must enable private sessions. So if you do it once, close it, then come back an hour later and say, hey, I want to listen to more Spotify, you have to remember to go and activate that feature or everybody can see your information. Spotify also came under fire for a controversial artist conduct policy in 2008. This was real big in the news. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have heard of it. The policy was named a hate content and hateful conduct policy. It was an effort to remove anything that promotes hatred or violence against a group or individuals based on race, ethnicity, nationality, sexual orientation, veteran status, or disability. Artists who were deemed to violate the policy, such as R. Kelly, would not have their music played on Spotify playlists. Now, this was a big deal last year. Basically, when all the R. Kelly stuff started going around, and also with Chris Brown and his allegations that were lodged toward him, Spotify took it upon themselves to get in front of the social media outrage, and they decided we're going to be proactive and remove these artists from our playlist. Which, if you know Spotify, most people listen to those Spotify created playlists. So if you remove an artist from those, they're losing tons of streams. Basically what happened is they created a slippery slope because anybody could go and dig up an artist and look, this guy did this guy did that. And even artists such as R. Kelly brought that point up, saying, how can you take my music away while you're letting X artists still be on your platform? And basically, it just created a whole mess where it was he say, she say, and that ultimately led to Spotify deciding to scrap the policy. It was overturned after backlash from artists. A rep for XXXTentacion, one of the artists affected, responded by listing 19 artists who had been accused but not convicted of serious offenses but were left on the platform. See, as I said, it created a slippery slope. Another issue with Spotify as a ADIK is they've been called out by artists that they underpay artists. Spotify appealed a ruling by the Copyright Royalty Board that would require higher payouts to the artists. The way Spotify pays out, they use something called a pro rata model. So let's say Spotify, they gain all this money from ads, from people paying their subscriptions. It all goes into a big pot. Basically, after they pay out their back end things, they now have their pot that they pay artists. Say you have a top five in the game artists such as Drake or Taylor Swift. If Taylor Swift, one of her songs generates 10% of all streams on Spotify, she gets 10% of that entire pot. This makes it entirely skewed toward the big name artists and leaves smaller artists, such as one of my favorite, Ari Lennox, it leaves them getting pennies because they're mainly underground artists. Their music is never going to be as big as Taylor Swift's. Spotify also does data collection. In 2016, Spotify launched an outdoor campaign concerned about its users. It collects data on its customers to create personalized ads. And this is the thing with most ADIKs now. Everything based off of the cookies you have on your computer. So this is a funny story I can use about data collection. I'm getting married next year. So my sister is a bridesmaid. So my fiance, she sent my sister a link of the dress that she needed to purchase for the wedding. So my sister pulls out her phone, she looks at it, she gets to go, oh, I like this dress. Then my mom on her iPad, a totally different device, logs into Facebook and look, it's the same company that offered the dress. So basically, if you're on the same network based off of what you browse, they try to throw ads at you to either get you to complete a purchase or say, oh, you are looking at this, here's an ad for it. And this is mainly what ADIKs today collect information for. One of Spotify's executives announced that Spotify is collecting massive amount of data on the people listening. What does that mean for Spotify user? Spotify could influence you in ways they don't mean to, such as, oh, I see you look at dogs a lot. We're going to show you a Furbo dog treat camera that maybe you will purchase. The user could find more music they enjoy, basically also by looking at your data. The Spotify algorithm is able to churn out more music to your taste. And user information could be leaked if the organization becomes a victim of a cyber attack, which we see, unfortunately, more and more common these days. As far as the AI Spotify uses, the main one is their algorithm. Basically, Spotify's algorithm is what makes Spotify Spotify. Based on the music you listen to, it will find other artists that will be similar to your taste, and it always recommends them to you, usually in a playlist called Discover Weekly or New Music Weekly. The home screen for Spotify is governed by BART, Bandits for recommendations as treatments. It's an AI whose job is to organize each user's homepage to display playlists and genres of music that the user would like. BART is what Spotify uses to deliver music that the user will enjoy while dropping in fresh new artists to get the user to explore. So, yep, that's what manages your homepage. So when you go on your homepage and it sees you're listening to Lupe Fiasco, it's going to also show you, these are artists similar to this artist. Maybe you should give them a listen. Spotify also uses the natural language processing model as one of its tools for song recommendation. The model's source data are words such as track metadata, news articles, blogs, and other information on the internet. Spotify uses this to compile what people are saying about the artist, how they feel about them, and the artists who are mentioned with them. This gives Spotify, through machine learning, more data to work with to make more of these recommendations to get the user to keep listening. Discover Weekly is one of those playlists that is created by Spotify AI. It tailors music to a person's specific taste. So with my Discover Weekly, I see on social media people are on Twitter saying, "Wow, my Discover Weekly always knows what music I want to listen to." That's because the algorithm is tailored to find artists that maybe if you listen to a song, it's going to give you artists by another artist featured in that song, basically saying tempos, like region where they're from. Spotify's AI is complex to basically give you more music to keep you listening. It gathers data on the music the user listens to, likes, and saves the playlist. The AI then creates a playlist every week that contains music similar to your taste. In conclusion, Spotify is the world leader in streaming music, lapping both Tidal, Apple Music, Pandora, you will name it. The Swedish company's unique ADIK can create user specific playlists tailored to an individual instead of just a whole. The company is still struggling, however, in areas such as user privacy. Such as one of the things that happened was one a user, basically she had a her ex-boyfriend because they were dating at one time, they were listening to music on Spotify because they were friends. He can still see what she was listening to. So he would look at her playlist, and if it was any type of song that like resembled like they a relationship song about getting back together, he would send her text message and harassing calls basically saying, "Oh, I knew we were meant to be together." And basically he harassed this woman because he's using a playlist that she's listening to justify them getting back together when that was not even the case. Spotify also takes a strong socio-political stance, showing their values and double standards. So on one hand, Spotify is all about cutting out piracy, which is illegal, and people saying it takes money from the music industry, but at the same time, they turn around and pay a majority of their artists peanuts. That's one of those double standards that Spotify shows. Their use of NLP and metadata is second to none in the machine learning technology community. They create personalized ads based on data sourced from its users, mainly cookies. If you don't want to get these ads, make sure you clear your cookies probably once a week. Spotify and the user should work more to honor user privacy. Personally, I would like it if they had a way to block certain people from looking at what you're looking at. I've had people where I'm like, just like a PlayStation 4. Sometimes you're online, you're playing a game. You don't want somebody who could use that to harass you to see exactly what you're doing. So if Spotify in the future could work to create an app or create an option to basically block people, and also the private listening, it shouldn't have to be toggled on every time. If I want my stuff to be private, just let me make it private until I feel like, okay, I want the world to see what I'm listening to. But unfortunately, this is one of these ways that Spotify tries to foster a community, and I believe that's the reason why they don't do that for that option. Thank you for listening and taking the time to listen to our project. It's been wonderful. I love Spotify. I had a great time learning about all the nuances of this ADIK, and thank you for your time. Bye bye.